started here. Good morning to everyone. So today is Thursday, and on Thursday we read a children's story to one of the animals. Today we are going to be reading a book called The Great Smoky Mountain Salamander Ball. And this was a story that was recommended to me by a Facebook friend that I have. A lot of people collect things. I collect smart people. I like people who are a lot smarter than I am. And I have a friend named Lisa Powers that lives down by the Smoky Mountains. And she is a salamander expert. And I love about all the things that she posts about salamanders. So we're going to read this today to our salamander, the Tigger. But when I was reading this story, it dawned on me that this was hitting on another topic that teachers are asked to try to incorporate into their busy days. Now, I know a lot of us parents that we're homeschooling now, we have a much greater appreciation for what teachers do. And the idea of having to constantly add things that you have to teach to your children can be very overwhelming. One of the topics that they talk about now is SEL, and that stands for social emotional learning. So now we're expected, besides teaching the arithmetic and the reading and all this, now we have to teach the children how to have empathy for one another. And so if you are a parent, you've been given an incredible opportunity right now to be able to work with your child and help develop some of those social skills that on a normal school day is just overwhelming for a lot of teachers to be able to do this. So as a parent, you have an opportunity to do this. If you would like to learn more about SEL, I wrote it down here for you, and there's a great website. So SEL is social and emotional learning, and it helps to teach empathy. So, because we're always talking about not bullying, so we don't bully, but why don't we bully? Can we get somebody to understand what another person is going through, or to help to understand it? So SEL, social emotional learning, and this website right here is very good, casel.org. And I highly recommend if you can do that. So today, the Great Smoky Mountain Salamander Ball, read to Tigger, the tiger salamander. So we'll get this all set up so that you can see Tigger better. And the pages here. There's Tigger. So I've got Tigger here in a jelly roll pan that's lined with paper towels, and I put some spring water on it, so in case Tigger wanted to wander out of its bathtub there. Look at it, you're getting read a story while you're in a bath. Isn't that awesome? Okay, so The Great Smoky Mountain Salamander Ball by Lisa Portsman. It's got some great illustrations. Okay. On top of the car roof of the camp gear was stacked, and into the car with their suitcases packed went both Sarah's parents, with Sarah there too. They had places to go, they had fun things to do. Sarah wiggled and squiggled inside the big car and asked, "Are we there yet?" because it seemed far. They were bound for the Smokies, that wonderful spot where hikes would be hiked and fish would be caught. Have you guys gone on a long car ride before? Hopefully to someplace really fun. I've been to the Smoky Mountains once. It was beautiful. Get in here a little bit better here. Once in the Smokies, the days went by fast, with hiking and swimming and fishing lines cast. Sarah learned lots about mountains and trees, why some trees have needles, why some trees have leaves. The mountains and Sarah were no longer strangers. She had joined the ranks of the park's junior rangers. She worked hard to earn a nice shiny badge awarded to her by Park Ranger Madge. just a tiny bit here. And we'll scooch you forward. There you go. Madge looks like a nice person. Picking up litter had been quite a chore. Hiking was tough, though she'd like to explore. But she knew of one kid who'd cheated and lied. He bragged about hiking. He'd not even tried. And that isn't all. There was more, Sarah knew. He's not just a liar, but a big bully, too. He'd yanked off the tail of a little red newt before it escaped and hid under a root. Oh, that's not nice at all. Yeah, because some people hear that salamanders' tails can come off and they will grow back, which they will, sometimes not as pretty as the first one, but still, to pull somebody's tail off just to see, that's not very nice. Then came the night Sarah just couldn't sleep. Dreams wouldn't come, so she tried counting sheep, till she heard a strange noise and peeked from her tent and sneaked through the darkness with no one's consent. Poking through trees, she came to a hollow. She saw teeny footprints and started to follow. Crunch! She looked down, a small piece of paper. There in the dark, it almost escaped her. You're not going to escape, are you? Look, there it is. Look, she's wearing bunny slippers. I love that. It seemed to be some kind of fine invitation, of which Sarah studied with great fascination. She held it up close to her eyes and her head and started to read it. Here's what it said. Salamanders big to salamanders small. Whoop, you're going to go back in there, hon. Come one, come all to the salamander ball. We have a big party. Yes, this much is true. With feasting and dancing and playing games too. Then what she saw, she couldn't resist. She just had to follow, for there in the mist, salamanders busily heeded the call to where she now knew, the salamander ball. They all reached a clearing on top of a mountain, and someone yelled loudly, "A ball's to be startin'!" A small band of crickets then started to play as the guests wandered in on a fancy pathway. Look at that. First, a hellbender marched with great zest, with plans to win big in the ugly contest. Next came a pygmy, the smallest of small. He took a high place, it made him look tall. The zigzag salamanders all zigzagged in time to the beat of a drummer while standing in line. Behind them the red cheeks swayed to the band, admiring their blushes to see who was grand. All different kinds of salamanders. The mud salamander bathed just for the occasion and found a dance partner without much persuasion. On went the dancing, they all kept time well. They rumbaed and cha-cha'd and polka'd pell-mell. They'd moved up the mountain in pack after pack. Now there were so many that Sarah lost track. So many colors and so many sizes. So many talents, all hoping for prizes. Laughing and watching from her hiding spot, Sarah saw weird things until she got caught. Two alert newts called out, "It's a spy!" Sarah stopped laughing and tried not to cry. Everyone froze. This was not a good thing. The salamander ball was a top secret fling. They circled around her and grumbled and glared. They all moved in closer, and Sarah got scared. "What to do now?" yelled a voice above all. "No human has been to our salamander ball. It's ruined for sure. Forget having more. The ball would be crowded with humans galore." Sarah was sorry that she had spoiled their fun, and just when their party had barely begun. But then someone called amid the uproar, "Let's make this girl an ambassador." "What's that?" They all muttered, craning their heads, as up stepped Simon, blushing bright red. He was a true leader, somewhat of a brain. They all stopped to listen. He began to explain. Ambassadors help us to see wrong from right. They help keep the peace instead of a fight. She'd be the one to teach the human race to respect salamanders and our Smoky Mountain place. They all stared at Sarah, and what could she do? Ambassador she'd be, and a diplomat too. So now it was time for some grand lecturing on 2 golden rules of salamandering. Rule number 1, began Simon right off. Put back that salamander before you take off. His home is in the Smokies, and it's not home with you. He's happiest here, and the weather's right too. And rule number 2 should never be broken, one to be remembered long after I've spoken. The great Smoky Mountains have been home since creation, so please treat them kindly when you're here on vacation. They gave her a ribbon that made her proud-hearted. The music began and the party restarted. A race for the fastest began with a shout, and a prize for the best spots was then given out. Near one clump of trees, a scary movie was shown of a salamander chased by a boy just half grown. That kid was just curious and needed to know, if a tail gets yanked off, will another one grow? Oh, that's so scary. Then trumpets blasted, a pageant took place to decide which contestant was fairest of face. Not to be missed was a fine diving show, making all in the crowd shout, "Magnifico!" The party went onward throughout the dark night, and Sarah fought sleep off, but try as she might. Her eyes soon grew heavy, she dropped off to sleep, and went off to dreamland without counting sheep. Just think, if this story had happened to you, was it simply a dream or was it all true? Well, Sarah grew up and now she's a ranger. She protects salamanders from possible danger. So maybe she dreamed it, but then maybe not. What matters the most is what she was taught. And maybe, just maybe, if you make a request, she'll tell you about the Salamander Fest. And if Sarah likes you, she'll show you the badge awarded to her by Park Ranger Madge. But look very closely, there's a little bit more. A ribbon attached reads, Ambassador. And then here on the back page, they have all of these different kinds of salamanders, there we go, that live there. The spotted salamander, marbled. Wow, I don't see the tiger one, so maybe the tiger one just lives over here. But isn't that neat? And this salamander, Tigger, is a tiger salamander, and this one is my ambassador. So we talked a little bit about what it means to be an ambassador in the story, and the animals that I have here, they are all ambassadors to help you learn more about them. So I want to thank you guys for coming today. Now remember, tomorrow we are going to talk about what you would need if you want to raise butterflies this summer. So make sure you have your pen and pencil, and we'll go over the list and talk a little bit about it and how you go about doing that. So I look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow. So I want you guys to stay healthy and well, and we'll see you then. Thanks for stopping by. Bye-bye. You say goodbye, Tigger. Say goodbye to your audience. Bye-bye.